welcome to What Do You Slay? My name's Coach Kara. This is Coach Taylor and Coach Becca. We are fitness trainers and nutritional coaches out of the greater Austin area, and we've put this episode together for you. And we're going to be talking about changing your fitness routine based on kind of your age. We got this idea from
Mind Pump Media.
Mind Pump Media. They are some great guys that we love watching their talks, and a big shout out to you guys. We love your content. And so we thought we would take a conversation they had, take it a little bit farther with our audience here. So we hope you enjoy it. And it being almost the end of the year when we are filming this, we want to be a little mindful about if you're starting a fitness routine in the new year, some things to keep in mind and not to bite off more than you can chew. So let's go ahead and dive in and get started. So changing your fitness routine as you age. So this is what is going to help you move forward in your fitness as you age. So something they were talking about is saying, like, you're not going to train in your 40s like you did in your 20s. It's just things are changing in your body. You maybe have a few more aches and pains, or your goals are different, or your lifestyle is definitely different. You're probably a little bit busier, but you have to adapt a little bit and step back and think a little differently about how you're going to approach your fitness routine. So I know for me, when I was a fitness competitor, I definitely can't train like that anymore. I've got some more ailments. I've got a few more issues. So
a lot less
time. I mean, holy moly. Yeah, a lot less time. So I have to be real with myself and kind of do what I can to maintain my goal. And I think for me, my goal is just feeling strong, being strong, stay healthy and energetic. And so I can keep, living my life and keeping up with the demands that I have on my life. So I think that's where I come from. Taylor, tell me a little bit about, like, where do you come from, or what are your thoughts behind some of that?
I just turned 30, so I'm definitely starting to get, like the creaky knees, or needing to be a little bit more intentional with my warm-ups and stuff. I don't have any kids yet, but as far as starting to shift that mindset to a more functional aspect, especially being a trainer full-time, I'm standing pretty much all day, every day, or when classes are really busy, there's a lot of demonstration, and just being mindful of needing more recovery time. I think that's been the biggest thing. Like, I don't bounce back from a late night or going out on a weekend and then being able to go to the gym super early in the morning, like when I was in my late teens, early 20s. So
yeah.
I think just bringing awareness to more attention on recovery, and then being cognizant of that, instead of just assuming like I can go,
yeah,
and then still feel good.
Yeah, and I think as you get older, like, it's gonna change maybe every decade or whatever season might happen in your life. You're not going to train as you are in your 30s in your 60s or 80s. You're going to have to adapt a little bit, and your goals, whatever those goals might be. What about you, Becca?
Yeah, I think it's shifting, like comparing yourself to who you were, and like comparing yourself to the lifestyle that you want to lead or continue to lead, is more of a healthy shift that you should take, instead of like beating yourself up like, oh man, I used to be able to, bench press X amount or run, X amount of miles. What do you need to do that for at, whatever age you're at?
Yeah.
Comparing what you're doing to the lifestyle you want is important. But I think I'm with Taylor on the recovery part. Yeah. That's something I've never been good at. I'm always like 80 to 100% on all my workouts, but like my body is not happy these days because of that. Like, my hips are always hurting, they're very tight. Yeah. And so talking with our massage therapist, talking even with our facial girls about that, like, I need to plug that in a little bit more. I do really good at the exercise part. I don't do a lot of the recovery part very well.
And I think that's even a good topic for a What Do You Slay episode 13, talking about the importance of recovery, and maybe what we could do or suggest on what to do to help with that. So no, that's perfect. So now let's talk about how to approach this different mindset of, you know, you're going into the new year, or, you know, you want to try and change some of your habits, or maybe you've kind of fallen a little lazy or lackadaisical, and the only thing you know is like what you did in your 20s or in high school. And you know, I would step back and rethink, define what your goals are. Let's be really clear on, as a 40-year-old, what are your goals? And make them realistic. It's not to be bench pressing 250 pounds or whatever it is, you know?
It's almost like people intimidate themselves based on their past experiences, whether it was a good experience or bad experience with exercise. But yeah, like, it's just not...
Well, I think a lot of it is like separating the ego, right? Because like in your head, you have this perception of what you used to be or used to do. And like you said, good or bad, that's the standard you're holding yourself to. And then you're probably not taking the time to be like, I have a full-time job, I have a kid, like I commute an hour to work each way. Like your life just doesn't look the same. So if you're gonna factor all that in, then look at like, you're not in college anymore, you're not just a student, you're not a single person necessarily. So all these things that affect your time and your energy are gonna have probably the biggest impact on what you're actually able to do to get an efficient workout.
And just because you're changing your goals doesn't make you any more or less fit, healthy, active, energetic. I think that's a good point to make. Your goals change and it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. And oftentimes it's probably a good thing.
And I think that's also like, you need to accept that it's going to be a little bit different, and it is okay. Or maybe you need to start a little bit slower, or with not such a big goal in the beginning. Like maybe start with, you know, I don't know, let's say your goal is to participate in family walks or hikes, or, you know, whatever that is. Like just start walking every day for 20 to 30 minutes, something like that. Like just start with that and kind of build that into your routine. And you will feel accomplished and proud that you're like, hey, I'm at least getting this in with my busy schedule, and it makes me feel good, and you feel accomplished. So I think maybe approaching things that way, of starting somewhere, and then building on that. So there was another aspect, is like, what do you do in your day-to-day that you want to make sure you stay strong and attaining? So that could be, you know, maybe you have to climb X amount of flights of stairs every day. So I mean, there is something you want to be able to attain, or you want to be able to do a sit-up. You want to be able to get up off the floor, no problem. Or you want to be able to squat, you know, or go into a deep squat and stand up from that. Or, you know, I mean, these are a little bit maybe older human goals, maybe, but maybe not. I mean, you know, it could be like adding weight to that. I think it's like, you know, just depending on what you're wanting to stay strong in.
Taking your lifestyle into consideration for sure.
Or maybe you garden and you need to get down and squat and pick heavy pots up or whatever. Like just practicing that.
Or like taking like, okay, what bothers me the most in my day-to-day? Like, oh, my upper back, my lower back, my knees, whatever. And maybe taking that into like, well, I want to have less pain in those areas. So that's your goal.
And then sometimes finding a coach to help guide with some of that. Like if you're having pain here, it's good to strengthen this or increase the mobility of it. I think that's another thing, is stretching and mobility is not really a cool thing or really done well, as like Coach Becca, like she needs to do more of it, you know? So I think just kind of finding that time to just maybe incorporating a stretch and a walk every week. Like just start somewhere like that.
Definitely.
Let's talk about the female specifics.
Oh yeah. So I guess as you age, you know, women hit menopause, and boy, you really are gonna change how you do things because those hormone levels are changing. So adapting to even just your nutrition, looking at your nutrition and maybe how active you are or not so active you are, and finding the balance of where you can incorporate something like that. What are your thoughts?
I think a lot of our female clients within their 40s and 50s are having testosterone issues, and the energy levels are really important. So maybe like your first goal is just to like pay attention to yourself. You know what I mean? Like, let me take this week and really listen to how my body is throughout the day.
Yeah.
And if you're like, man, I really don't think I should be this tired, or I really don't think that getting up out of bed should be this hard, then maybe it's time to like actually go get blood work done or something like that, because usually that's a huge thing. It doesn't even have to be menopause. It could be like post a couple of kids.
Yeah.
Right.
Your testosterone levels are down, and maybe that's really what's kind of holding you back, like motivation wise, or you are exercising but you're not seeing the changes that you want in terms of body fat mass or muscle mass building. Taking that in consideration too, versus like, it's not working for me, I'm gonna quit.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things, unfortunately, for females that we do have to think about.
Absolutely.
Internally.
And like peeling back the layers of saying, okay, well, let's start with like, am I deficient in anything? Am I sleeping good? Do I feel like I'm well hydrated? You know, where are my hormones if I'm hitting that menopause age, you know? But even for men, like you could be in the same situation in regards to like, where are your energy levels at, you know? Can you get up and play with your child? Or do you feel like you're just so sluggish all throughout the day and you're grabbing that coffee at 4 or 5 in the afternoon, evening, you know, like when you shouldn't hopefully be doing that. I mean, to each their own, but hey, sometimes we have to.
Well,
but, you know.
And by extension though, like when you're starting to consider like, are my hormones affecting my results? Like, are they the cause of the lack of change or whatever changes are occurring in your body? Like, listen to your body, because most people are quick to be like, let me call the doctor up. Like my friend Jane over here just started this supplement and it's fixing her, and it's like, that's great for your friend Jane, but like until you take a real look at, like you said, your recovery, your stress, your hydration, your nutrition, like if you've mastered the basics and you're still having issues at that point, then check out help or go to your doctor and have that blood work done. But it's easy to chalk it up to like a solution that you can buy before you try to master all these things.
That's huge.
And even if you go to the doctor and you get on supplements or you get on hormone replacement therapy, if you're not fixing the root cause of how your body got to be there, you're gonna probably go back to what was happening negatively to you before whatever that replacement therapy looked like or supplements could be. So
that is like the best thing you just said. That was perfect. I mean, because it is so true that people love to go to like, oh, this is what's wrong with me. This is what the doctor said. Let's put a bow on it and slap it on my chest. And like, that's who I am now. But I'm like, it doesn't have to be like that.
No.
You don't have to be that person. Maybe you figure out like, well, how did I get here? Well, maybe I'm deficient in something, or maybe I need to work on, you know, something else, or do some version of a weight bearing or time under tension exercise to help improve that, or, you know, who knows what it could be. It could be a bunch of different things, but don't just accept the ailment in some way and just say like, well, this is my reason for not being able to do this, and this and this. I mean,
exercise has never been a bad thing for anyone. There's never been any study that's ever come out that said exercise is bad. It doesn't work. Like, that's not the case, but it's the first thing that people ditch. But there have been a million studies that say drugs are not, you know, certain drugs aren't good for certain people, and you know, all this stuff. But that's what our society kind of clings to and wants to ditch. So stick with exercise, stick with your lifestyle, and then dig deeper. Continue to do the movement and then dig deeper into the things we're talking about.
Or even like maybe the stigma of the word exercise. Like, just think of, you gotta move your body. Figure out a way to move my body, or make that your word. Okay, today I gotta move my body. How am I gonna move my body today? Period. Like, I gotta check that off the list, just like you gotta wake up and brush your teeth, you know? So just maybe thinking of it even from that perspective, instead of like an exercise, because there's a whole thought process or stigma around the word too, you know, of,
for sure.
You know, just let's move your body, Okay. The other thing, I think it's never too late to start. Like, you're like, oh, I've never worked out and I'm not starting now. Well, why the hell not? Like,
I saw a really good quote, and it was like, the best time to start exercising would have been years ago. The second best time to start exercising is today. And it's like, you can't go back, you can't undo, you know, a sedentary lifestyle or like not being interested before. But I guarantee, like, if you're having pain in your everyday life, if you're not able to do things, if you're scared to go on long walks or like be by yourself, because again, maybe as an older person or as a younger person that's just not very strong and you're unable to do things, like, why are you going to accept that? Like you said. So start today, and every day is like a little bit better. It can be, it's opportunity to be better as opposed to just stuck.
Yeah.
And this is it.
One day you might not have the time. Like, your time is up.
Yeah.
And then you're like, you waited.
And then how much time are you going to spend at doctors, at physical therapy, like undoing a lifetime of not being intentional with how you moved to fit like what your lifestyle is.
Well, I think that's the importance of finding a coach too. If you're scared and you don't know where to start, like, there are so many communities that you can jump into, and we are great at that. We meet you where you are, and you get thrown in a class, but you're not really thrown in a class. Like, we're basically coddling you around and making sure everything is good for at least the first month. I feel like that's usually how long it takes for somebody to get the groove of most of the foundational movements. But find a coach. If you're scared, but you know it's the thing that you need to do, find a class that works for you, try them all out. But I was watching a football game last night, and there are prescription ads all over the place. And I had this epiphany. I'm like, you know what? I want to have anti-prescription ads. I want to say, don't do ads, don't do prescription drugs, do exercise. And Danny responded and was like, well, how would we make money off that? And I'm like, I don't care about the money. I don't care about the money. I want people to know that prescription drugs aren't the first choice. This is a tangent, but like, people need to know that it's
a
stand up. But like, people need to know that movement, like you're saying, is the medicine. Prescription drugs are not the first choice, and that we need to be
that should be like the last resort. And there's absolutely no shame, like, if you have been prescribed something, or like you said, you're deficient in something for whatever reason. Maybe you have an allergy and it makes it really hard to get X, Y, or Z in. And like, we understand that, but that should not be the first thing. Like, that's a Band-Aid, right? So what's your actual solution? How long is that gonna work before maybe you need another medicine, or before you have a side effect to the one you're on? Like, that's just the reality of it.
So something has happened in my life where it's given me perspective to somebody, and I thought, you know, you have this one body, you get one, and this is the one you got, and you got to take care of it. But if you choose not to take care of it, you might be miserable up in a hospital or sick in bed, but it's your choice. Like, in the end, it's your choice. So don't bite off more than you can chew with starting a new goal. Like, start small, but start somewhere, just because in the end, towards, you know, getting into the 60s, 70s, and 80s, you can prevent a lot of, you know, some of that suffering that you could occur. And, you know, another one, going back to Mind Pump, guys, he was saying why he chooses to work out was, you know, to have freedom, because when he gets older, he wants to have the freedom and choice to be able to get up and go for a walk, or the freedom to choose to participate or not in a sport or something with their kids. You know, it's a freedom, like, to have freedom, because when we are sick and dependent on, you know, certain medicines or doctors, or, you know, whatever the case is, you lose your freedom. Like,
going off of that too, it's like, you think about the retirement age is what, like somewhere between 55 and 65, and then most people's, you know, disease, sickness, ailments increase at those ages too. And so, okay, you're done working, but what's the quality of life at that point? Like, you just wasted, for lack of a better word, like, all of your good year, better years working for somebody else with the limited time, and now you have the time, but you don't have the movement and freedom to do what you want to do with that. So I think that's a good perspective shift too.
Definitely.
With this, finding exercise that works for your age and your lifestyle that you want to have, like so you can enjoy those retirement years that we work so long and hard to get to.
I think that what makes us so passionate about this, or I think we're really passionate about it, but is because we kind of emulate that here at Slate Fit Club, is just saying we want to help you live better, be stronger, and do the things you love to do. We're living longer, so live better. And that's what us coaches are here and love to do. And we help hundreds of people and achieve that and maintain that so they can keep doing what they love to do. So I think that's the biggest takeaway, I think, of our conversation. Just, this going into the new year is start small, be realistic, and level up to where you're at with your age and what you do in your day-to-day and your hobbies, things like that. So I think that's that.
I love it.
That's good.
I'm fired up.
All right.
We're about to see Beck on a commercial.
Move!
Shame!
Yeah.
Shame! Outside prescription companies.
So we're going on to red flag, green flag.
The best.
And the first one is magnesium supplements.
Green flag.
Oh, that's big green flag. I think they're great. There were a lot of people are deficient in magnesium.
Yeah, I put this on there because it's so relatable to
It's
the
so-
aging thing, to the recovery thing.
Oh man, get you some magnesium.
And there's different types that help support different things.
Yeah.
So like digestion, sleep, stress. So it's kind of fun to be like, okay, like I take magnesium at nighttime and I can tell a difference. Like I will not sleep as restfully if I don't take it.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, carnivore diet.
Red.
No, red.
Red, because that just sounds so gross. I love meat, but
That's a
Yeah.
lot.
I also think like the people that do it, I don't think they expand enough on the quality of what they're eating.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of studies that are like, it helps improve your, like fat or whatever and all those things. But
Collagen.
yeah, exactly. Like there's a lot of benefits, but if it's not good sources, then
Are
Balance.
they just eating meat? Is it just
I
eating
think
meat?
it's like butter, meat.
And veggies.
A lot of these people that are on a carnivore diet, like Paul, whatever his name is, we follow this influencer, and he's like pretty heavy into a paleo style almost.
Yeah.
Like, but he's pretty against vegetables. Like he's like vegetables don't want to be eaten.
Oh,
Like
man.
Brussels sprouts. These things.
He's a pectin
Yeah,
guy.
yeah. I mean, and he's saying he's like, if it wanted to be eaten, it wouldn't have this hard outside that causes like gas or whatever else.
Boo,
And
boo,
it's like,
Paul.
yeah. Eat your Brussels sprouts.
Right? All right, taking ibuprofen. I think it's a yellow flag.
I'll go yellow.
I'm a yellow flag on
I
this
think
one
if there's a
too.
time and place. I just got over the flu, and ibuprofen saved me a lot.
Yeah,
I don't like to take it very often.
yeah. I think it's a crutch for a lot of people.
Right.
Like one bad ache, and then you go ibuprofen. Like our body's so good at healing itself, so give it some time. And if it's not improving, or if you're sick with the flu, of course.
Oh, so there we go. All right, regifting Christmas gifts.
I think if there was no risk of the person that gifted it to
All
you,
right.
what's the shame, right? Like better than sitting on your shelf not being used. But if it were to ever get back to the original gifter, then obviously red flag. That's just rude.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Just as long as those.
My heart says red, just because I would feel so bad. But I can understand the practicality, like if someone else could do better.
Benefit
with the
or
gift.
use it.
Right.
Yeah.
Or like my son sometimes gets two of the same gift, and then I hold one for
Yeah.
a birthday present later on to somebody.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
All right, Christmas tree up past January. Oh my
Past
God.
January?
I feel like you're a hard red on
No.
this.
The day after Christmas, it's like,
December
Oh yeah, and that shit's coming down. I'm done. On to the next.
she got on the Christmas
Right?
tree is up.
I'm red past the new year because the lights are still fun.
Yeah.
And then after that,
I feel like by the new year it should be down.
yeah, cue the Taylor Swift song.
Yeah.
I don't know the Taylor
Always in our
Swift
Swiftie era.
All right, using Christmas lights as an all year round decor. You know, I have a neighbor who has this, and I just can't stand it. I mean, I think it takes away the joy of like Christmas lights when they're up all the time.
novelty, yeah.
You become a little numb to it. You're like, oh, there's Joe's Christmas lights up, and it's July, you know?
What about the people that make them cater to the specific holiday? Like Easter lights.
I've never seen Easter lights.
I feel like we see like
I've seen Halloween
people.
lights.
Like people will do Halloween decorations.
Yeah, but
With
then
those
you take
lights.
them down.
I'm saying red. It's tacky.
I'll go red.
Yeah, no, negative. All right, well, those are all of them. Thank you so much for joining us, and we appreciate you watching our channel. We hope you stay tuned for next year's episodes. And if you enjoy this, please subscribe and share with your friends. We would appreciate it. If you have any questions or suggestions about what you'd like to hear from us, put it in the comments below. Thank you all so much. Have a happy new year, and we will see you in 2024.
Woo!